What's up, everybody? Happy Whoa, That's Good Wednesday. This is our recap episode for all the incredible advice we've gotten all year long. I think we've done this kind of year recap, at least for the past couple years, and I think you guys were my guests in the past on it too, and it just keeps working so well, and it's one of my favorite things to do, to get to be in the studio with John Luke and Bella and Christian.
Am I still considered a guest, or am I considered a co-host now?
Oh.
Well, you said guest.
I knew
and
you thought you were a big deal.
You didn't include me in the guest.
Co-host is really far.
Well, he'd be acting like a co-host, showing up late today, walking in, roasting you, Bella. And then Bella hit him with your.
Don't act like you all ready to go when I walked in.
You don't have to say that on the podcast. You don't have to expose me on the
People need
podcast.
to see our real life. People need to know that you just called your brother-in-law a butthole before
He
we
was
started this
acting like
podcast
one.
of good
I was
advice.
not. I was being sarcastic, and it came across to you as being a
To you.
d-hole.
Okay.
Not the B. I love how you spell things out sometimes. It is very funny.
Thank you.
Okay, without further ado, we should probably hop on in because there's so much good advice that we've gotten this year. I always love this too because I don't think y'all listen to my podcast.
I do. I listen to the one with family. I always listen to the ones with family.
Wait, that's actually sweet because you would think you would listen to the ones with not family since you hear us talk all the time.
No, I like to listen to the ones with family. I like to hear what y'all say about me, like last week's.
Same.
I do talk about you.
I like the ones with family a lot.
Wait, so you only listen to the podcast to hear what people say about you?
No, but I was just saying that because
I,
the last
speed
one I
through it
listened
to
to,
see
they
if I hear
happened
my
to bring
name.
me up a lot of times.
I did.
So
The last one you listened to,
Just
though, for reference, because it won't be at the same time when this comes out, was Will and Abby's.
no. It was Mary Kate and Abby.
Oh, Mary Kate and Abby. And I
Mary
kept
Kate
talking
and
about how
Ashley.
Bella and Jacob went stargazing on their first date, which apparently they did not, but it was what y'all planned
But
to do.
it was what he asked me to do, and then we never did. We went on a picnic.
Because y'all were just making out the whole time.
Christian, coming for me today.
I'm just kidding.
Wait, okay, this does not have to do with this podcast, but Jolly, what was you and Mary Kate's first date? Like, first real date?
For those just listening to the audio version, I just cut my eyes. I'll narrate facial expressions. No, this is just me wasting time while I think of what the answer was. And I can't think of it.
Hey, y'all been married
No.
for 10 years.
I know, 10 years. No, we were on that trip. What we consider our first date was when we were on that trip you were there, and we
That
went.
was when y'all established y'all were dating.
Oh, yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
Ides of March, but I think
Yes.
it's pronounced Ides of March. It was March 15th.
Yeah, that's when we started dating on the
It's a
Ides of
holiday.
March. Yeah,
But we call it the Ides.
the Ides. And we do celebrate the Ides every year. Our first date, I actually think we went to Waffle House. I think was our legitimate
That would
first
not
date.
surprise me. We went to Waffle
Only it
House.
would take-
We'll
so much in high
have to
school.
ask Mary
First-
Kate.
Yeah.
Next time she's in the podcast, you should ask her.
You know what's crazy to me? Like, now I think about my health, but in high school, I would go to Waffle House so often in the mornings and get a chocolate chip waffle with a Coke. If I did that now, I would feel so sick
You'd
after
go
that.
to Waffle House before school?
Yeah. On Tuesdays, game days. Again, on a game day, I would start my day off with
get a
chocolate
carb
chip
load.
waffle and a Coke.
Yeah.
I'm like, just thinking about, because now I think like, okay, if I want to play good, I would eat something good and healthy for me to feel strong. Back then, I was like, I need a chocolate chip waffle and a Coke right now. And it was the best thing ever. And maybe we should do that on a Tuesday.
We should. That's why you played so good.
Maybe that's good advice. Okay, but
would
for
not
real,
follow
let's
that
get to
advice.
actual good advice for this year. All right, episode 1 of last year, January 8th, Preston Perry was on the podcast. Talk about a strong start.
Very strong start.
And I love what he said. If God gave me a spouse that met my every condition, I would never learn how to love unconditionally. Why are you laughing?
Needs to silence his cell phone.
Sorry, my phone,
sorry,
my
he's
phone
never-
buzzed and Bella laughed at me.
No, I
This is
just
his
looked
first
at you
time.
because
This is my first time on the podcast.
Silence yourself, an amateur.
Yippee.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, well, that was really good advice. And one thing about Preston and Jackie, because they were on a couple times this year, they are so well spoken. It's wild. I think because like they both are poets, and also she does rap. Like they are so good with just their
Very
everyday,
eloquent.
yeah, like just their everyday conversations. Like he just throws that out there, like it's nothing, and it's so beautiful and it's so good.
We have a lot in common with that.
From a poet, because you're a poet, do you sometimes feel like you want to talk like that?
Like what?
Like, you know, like this is what he said. Meet my every condition.
yeah.
I would never learn how to love unconditionally.
Yeah,
Like, that's
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you ever talk like that just for fun?
No. But I feel like for them, they talk for a living and like they think through these things all the time. So like I feel like if maybe
true.
I was doing that more, then maybe I would think like that more. But
That's true.
So
But-
translation, what he means is, God did not give me a robot.
I think we need
What's
to
true?
reset our
No.
tone because we're being too giggly right now.
No, I'm being serious. That's what he's implying.
He's
of like
basically saying-
someone that gave you everything you wanted, which is what a robot would do.
no, I
You
think
press a button and it happens. Then yes, you would never learn how to love unconditionally.
that's really good advice. Not what Christian said, but what he said. I think it's really good advice. I really do.
I actually do. I think it's
like,
beautiful.
That's so true. And obviously, like we've all been married. I've been married for 4 years, y'all. 5 or 6?
Almost 6.
Almost
And
6, dog.
you for 10. I feel like you learn so much about yourself and you grow so much being married. And everyone says like marriage is a mirror and like you learn so much. And it's so true. I feel like you really grow a lot in your ability to love unconditionally because of that exact reason. So I think that's so true.
It's true. And it's really cool. We were talking about this yesterday, how like the beautiful thing about relationship that you cannot get anywhere else, like a robot. Like, you know, people are starting relationships with AI now and it's so sad and it's so weird. But it's like the beauty of relationship and what makes it so like love be real and vulnerability means so much, and intimacy, all that, is that you really know that person and you've overcome things with that person. And it's like that cannot be traded for anything that this world can give you temporarily. Like to really know someone and love someone and forgive someone and walk through life with someone is just like so special. And I think people are afraid of the bumps in the road. People are afraid of the hard things. But it truly is like those hard things that make you get to experience love in a way on this side of heaven that is so holy.
Yeah, I think the lie people believe is that if you did have a spouse that met your every condition, you'd be happier. And short term, that could maybe be true, but long term, yeah, it's the highs and the lows that you come out of hard things and you have those deeper moments that, yeah, I do think you experience a deeper love when you go through hard things, when you don't see eye to eye, and you actually have to work through real problems as humans.
Yep.
I think too, like it's important to like flip that whole thing because it's like as much as yes, we learn to love unconditionally, you also are loved unconditionally, which is like I feel like what makes it so worth it because not only are you loving someone through through maybe like them not being perfect, you're also being loved the same way, which is the best gift you can be given.
There's the poet side of you.
Yeah, thinking about that, the idea of unconditional love, I really understand now after being married 10 years why our promise is till death do us part, because if there's any kind of condition, you're gonna fail in it.
Yep. Yeah.
And
That's true.
whoever you're marrying is going to change. Like Mary Kay and I have been married 10 years. I'm not the same person I was at 20. She's not the same person she was at 20. We've changed over the last 10 years, and we've had to fall in love with each other over and over again while we go through things and make mistakes and experiencing things and having points of weakness and points of strength. All of those experiences have changed us as people, and that commitment to love and to marriage has to be able to encompass all of those changes that you have as a person.
Yep, it's so true. The reason we were talking about this yesterday is because we're coming out of another postpartum. I guess I still am. It's only been 3 months, which is crazy. But it's like you're through 9 months of pregnancy and then you're postpartum. And then like we finally find like your stride again. There's like, oh, pregnant again. And then postpartum. And then finally like, okay. And then pregnant again and postpartum. And it's like, that's a lot of change in like your hormones and your life and your lifestyle. And now adding kids to the mix and your body and your all of the different things. And so those are certainly like conditions that go up and down, but like to be loved unconditionally in those seasons and like learn how to serve each other, learn how to love each other, learn how to be intentional, learn how to be selfless. Truly, you do come out of those on the other side of it and you're like, oh, I love you so much more. And even though those are hard things sometimes and uncomfortable things, like we wouldn't want to go back to our marriage before kids because it's so much stronger now, even though it's different, you know? And so, yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing that he said, and definitely good point for us to
Definitely good advice.
Definitely good advice. Whoa, that is so good. Fam, I don't know about y'all, but this time of year can feel like a marathon. We are all juggling Christmas parties, shopping, holiday travel, and trying to keep everybody healthy. And in the middle of that, we're all just trying to do little things that make us feel better every day. And let me just tell you, AG1 can be your secret weapon. It is a daily health drink that combines multivitamins, pre and probiotics, superfoods, and antioxidants into one simple scoop. Honestly, AG1 is an MVP. In the Huff household, we have gotten actually many people to try AG1 who love it now. In fact, we were just with my in-laws for the holidays, and the mailman comes and drops off a box of, guess what? AG1, because my father-in-law does not miss a day. When everything in your routine is upside down in December, AG1 can definitely help support your immune health whenever you're around so many different people and the diets are all crazy and there's food everywhere. This is a very simple way to just add a little health into your day. Plus, AG1 has their best offer ever right now, which is amazing because who doesn't love finding a great deal this time of year? Y'all are going to love to hear this. It's actually their best offer ever. If you head to drinkag1.com/whoa, you'll get the welcome kit, a morning person hat, a bottle of vitamin D3 plus K2, an AG1 flavor sampler, and you'll also get to try their new sleep supplement, AGZ, for free, which is a game changer for your nightly routine. That's drinkag1.com/whoa for $126 in free gifts for new subscribers. I'm going to skip a little bit because since we're kind of on the relationship train, when we had Phil Wickham and Christian Stanfield, which was so fun. They were in town. They were doing a little concert, not a little concert, it was actually a pretty big one at a local church. And I love this. He said, questions a mentor asked him when he was feeling a fear of commitment with his now wife when they were dating. And the reason we talked about this too and why I want to bring it up is because so many people are like overthinking, is this person the one? Even when it's kind of clear like they are the one. And our generation certainly struggles with commitment issues, like thinking maybe there's a better option out there, not wanting to commit because, again, fear of all the hard things. But these are the questions that he asked himself. Does she love Jesus? Does she make you love Jesus more? Do you think she's pretty? Do you want to hang out with her every day? Do you trust her to raise your kids? Asking these questions is how he realized he was supposed to marry his wife. And so I think that's good. That was like such good advice. Like, don't overthink it. Just ask yourself the basic questions and then go, okay, is it a yes on these things that are really important? Then I'm ready to commit. And back to what we just talked about, committing is not saying, okay, it's going to be great, it's going to be perfect, it's going to be easy. Committing is saying, no matter what, this is who I choose to do life with. I love that book, Mingling of Souls, and Matt Chandler says, it's not a question of like, will I argue with someone in marriage? Like, who do I want to argue with for the rest of my life? And he was like, and I choose Lauren to do that with.
Yeah, you're going to argue with somebody. Do I want to be this person or someone else? And I don't love arguing, but I'm happy to argue with you.
That's so kind. What do y'all think about that? Are y'all overthinkers when it comes to commitment decisions?
I would say I'm not. I think that, which I don't want to skip ahead, but there's an advice on there that I really resonated with about, like hearing from God, being able to discern God's voice from Pete Richardson. And I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute.
Bring it up. Let's talk about it.
You have it actually written out, so you can read it if you want to.
That was actually the next one. It says, are you talking about, well, kind of both of his are good. I'll read both. He said, it is a jungle out there, but if you learn to discern the voice of your Father, God, you will be able to navigate anything in that jungle. I love that. Then he said he was faced with a big decision. He called his dad and asked for advice, and his dad said, go on a 30-minute walk and ask God what he wants you to do. That gave him the gift of inquiring of God and discerning the voice of God.
Mm-hmm. That's so good. I feel like that's something I've learned a lot. And also just like, I don't know if it's, I feel like me and you both were this way, but it was kind of that like when you know situation. And I always feel like when people ask me like, how do you know he's the one? I'm like, I don't know, I just felt confident. And I also felt like God gave me a peace about it. And I feel like that's something I've learned a lot, especially in the past year, but really just all through this whole journey is just like learning to listen to God. And like, even if it doesn't say in the Bible, make this decision, God will tell that to you, and like, you'll feel peace about it. You'll feel confident and things like that. So I feel like that, I don't know, that's how I would answer it, I guess. It's just like knowing when you know really is, I feel like a commercial thing people say a lot, but as a Christian, I think God will give you that peace and you'll know, you know?
Good. I love that. It's so good.
Yeah, I think it's not overthinking it. I think it's important to think about your relationship and who you're going to spend the rest of your life with, and even down to who you're going to be friends with. You know, I got married at 19, so it was a little different circumstance for me, but I've seen a lot of relationships over the years. People I know who've become couples, or even people who've become friends and people I've been friends with. And those questions, I think, are spot on what you should be focusing on.
Yep.
I think one of the keys is friendship, is who you're going to hang out with them every day. You know, everyone's got problems. Everyone's got, different things. And it does kind of come down to like, is this something I can overlook in the beginning stages? So then later on, you can forgive them, move on.
Yep.
In friendships, I even think about, but I want to say, I think that to really get to know somebody, it's not overthinking it, but I think people should think about it over a longer period of time.
Yeah.
You know, like it takes months, years maybe sometimes to really get to know somebody. And that's not like scare you off, but that's you have to understand that that's part of the process. You know, at Camp Chioka, when I'm hiring staff, we hire 60 staff members a year. I've hired hundreds, probably thousands, over 1,000 staff members in the past 10 years. And I've interviewed thousands. And usually in the first 5 minutes, I know if they're going to be a good counselor or not. But a lot of times I'm super surprised. Some people I think, they're going to be great. A couple months later, they get to camp and they end up surprising me in a bad way. Sometimes someone who I was like, they kind of sound weaker in the interview, they ended up being awesome, you know? So like once you get past that first like date or that first like meeting, you're like, okay, I enjoyed this time. Then you have to understand that it might take months to really understand, kind of get their character.
That's good. That just made me think of one thing that I wrote on like my list of, who I want my husband to be one day, I guess. So it's just kind of funny that I had a list, but I feel like a lot of girls do have a list. But whenever I got like more specific on my list, one of the things I wrote was I want him to wait to tell me he loves me till he really knows me. Because I feel like in younger relationships, you like would rush into like those big words, those big things. So it's like, you'd have no idea that you don't even know me yet, And I feel like when you throw out those words too fast, or you throw out, I don't know, you just get too close too fast. Sometimes you do miss that really important part of a relationship, just truly getting to know someone. And I feel like over time, again, like that can take months for some people, that can take years for some people. But it is really important in asking yourself, like, who am I going to marry? Again, that's not overthinking it. That's just using wisdom and discernment and getting to know someone. Because one thing you do have to think about when you're marrying someone is this is not just someone that you like going on a date with. This is someone that's going to be like the father to your children, y'all's, uncle to y'all's children, your siblings' kids. They're going to be on all your family vacations on, y'all are going to go through the hard things together. When you say like in sickness and in health, going through sickness is hard, and having a spouse who loves you through that, the conditions of marriage, like, so it's not something to underthink. It's just something to use wisdom on. But then it's also not something to overthink, or when it's clear, it's clear. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to, you are not ever going to be perfect. So hopefully they're not waiting on you to arrive to being perfect, and they're not either. But you do have to make a decision and be willing to commit. But it's important to think about those things.
Yeah.
I think,
Wait, we all
Wait,
three
what?
just started talking.
This is a good
Yeah,
conversation.
you go.
Okay.
Ladies
I was
first.
just going to say that I think that there are some like universal qualities that everyone should look for in a spouse. And then I think there's some qualities that are important to some people and like prioritized by others. And I think that that's something to think about too. Like, what do you want? And I was actually thinking about this while you were talking, but I was wondering, and I can ask you later, but I was wondering like what qualities you look for when you're hiring for someone. Like, what are those things when you meet someone in the first 5 minutes that you're like, that's the person that I want to hire, and maybe someone that's not. And I was thinking about that because I think for me, when I hire people here, I look for like, I like confidence. And like when someone comes in really confident, like I'm quicker to hire them. And I've been wrong sometimes because sometimes that confidence is more pride. And then sometimes people come in more quiet and I'm like, oh, they don't seem very confident. And then they're great people to work with because they're really focused and not as being like loud or prideful. And so I think that there's some things that some people look for, and not to bring up like workplace, but like in spouses too. I think that there are some things that you just prioritize and are important to you, and I think you should think about that too. Like what am I looking for in a person? And especially I feel like in a big family, like I grew up the second youngest of a big family, and I feel like a lot of times when I was young I was looking for like, oh, I don't know, well, like this is just like, oh, Sadie, normally I don't know, I just saw you and who you dated and everything, and like it's just hard to like figure out what I wanted and things like that. And that even comes down to like even just like wedding styles and stuff like that. Like you just see what your older siblings do or whatever, and you're more likely to do that. But I think about what you want and think about what like is important to you in your future.
This time of year is so sweet. Definitely a lot going on, but there are some sweet moments. We baked cookies the other night with the tree all lit up, fireplace going, movie. It was awesome. But when you're trying to feel your best during the holidays, replenishing your electrolytes is one of those little things that really does make a big difference. And that's why Element has been a go-to no matter what the season brings. Element is a zero sugar electrolyte drink mix that actually tastes amazing. We're talking real electrolytes with none of the junk or fillers. Hydration is just one of those things that matters for everybody, not just if you're, running marathons or working out like my husband does. We all feel better and more energized whenever we actually are hydrated, and Element has done a ton of research to come up with their formula. I didn't actually realize it, but electrolytes can help so much with just like leg cramps and brain fog and so much more, and I certainly saw an impact in my life when I started drinking Element. Element makes hydration so convenient. You can literally toss it in your purse, take it anywhere you want. It's so tiny. Element fits right into your life like it's always been there. I've always loved the raspberry salt flavor or the watermelon salt flavor, have always been my two favorites. I'm kind of like stick with that no matter what season. So get your free Element sample pack with any purchase at drinkelement.com/whoa. Try Element totally risk-free. If you don't like it, they'll refund your order. No questions asked. That's drinkelement, drinklmnt.com/whoa. I feel like I didn't know what I wanted necessarily. Like when I say a list of things, some people are like this type of person, this style, and blah, blah. I did not know. And I dated a lot of different types of people. And I wish that, this sounds bad, but I wish that we could more casually date in some sense. Yes, we want to date with the intention of getting married. So I don't mean be flippant and not wise, but it's like you have to get to know people to know what you want and know what you do like in a person. And I didn't know it was going to be like Christian's type of person. But as I started to get to know Christian, I'm like, oh, he's like exactly like who I want to marry. Like this is my guy, And I don't even think I would have known to write those things down. But when I just saw the qualities in him, I was like, this is the kind of person I want to spend my life with. And on that note too, of like asking other people for advice and wisdom, I was thinking about, for me, hiring people, I was like not great at that because I'm like, want to be everybody's friend. And I'm like, oh, they're so great. They're like super fun to be around, hired. But then like they actually weren't good at that specific job. So now I actually remove myself from that side of our business so someone else can do that because they are a little bit better at not just getting distracted by like, oh, I like you as a person, but you're going to be good for the job. And so that's actually a good point when it comes to dating someone. Like maybe, my discernment isn't great. Like, maybe in the past I've dated people that weren't great. So I'm going to ask my friends around me, like, what do you think about this person? And that's one of the reasons why Christian and I's first date was with my friends around, because I wanted to make sure, like, I'm not the only one who thinks this is a good decision, you know? And so I think you got to know yourself in that. Where you get a...
That's good. Were you going to say something too?
Oh, you go first.
Well, I was just going to do a long circle back to where we started with the question. Just to add a simple... Are you going to say something?
Well, yeah, let me go off Bella first, and then you can get your...
Yeah.
Sorry, I totally went a different direction.
Well, no, I think, Bella, you're right on that there are some things that are the same for your workplace or your friends as for your person you want to date. Some things I look for when I'm hiring a counselor, like the first few things is, like, are they humble? Like, I want someone who's confident, but I don't want them bragging. Are they, I'll ask questions about their friends. Like, do they have friends? If they don't have any friends, like, probably don't want to hang around them. Ask how their relationship is with their parents. And like, it's not, not everyone has great parents, but if they can kind of talk about that, if they have a good relationship with their family, that's a good sign that they're someone who, you'd like to hang out with. Ask about their character, like how they're doing in school. I want to know, are they ambitious? Like, they don't have to have their life planned out, but I don't want someone who's just like, whatever, I don't know, who's not doing well in anything. Usually I'll ask if they have like a hobby or something. It's like, can they follow through with something? Can they commit to create something,
Well, and this is good. And so many of those questions are actually very in line with who you want to marry.
Right.
But the thing is, when you're asking a camp counselor this, what you're thinking is not like, oh, I want someone fun to be at camp. It's also, who's going to lead these kids?
Exactly.
Because camp is such a pivotal time in people's life, and the camp counselor is speaking into their those kids, and like can have a huge impression on their life. And so you're not just looking for someone to date; you are looking for someone to marry. That kind of.
Well, that's
concept.
the other thing with a camp counselor, similar to someone you want to date. I'm also thinking, are they going to pair well with everyone else at the camp? Like, do they fit in? Are they going to fit in with everyone? And I want to hire a diverse staff, and I do, but I have to know they get along. And if I'm looking for someone to date, I'm like, are they going to get along with my siblings?
Yeah.
Are they going to get along with my friends? Like, do they fit into this kind of like culture?
It's good.
The other thing specifically about dating that I tell people, and I've thought about a lot, is you want to see someone in every emotional situation. So like that kind of goes along with the questions of like friendship. Like, how do they react when they're angry? How do they react when they're sad? How do they react when they're happy? Are they good winners? Are they good losers? Do they lose their temper? Like if you kind of go through, are they disgusted by things? Like if you kind of see them see all those emotions, you can kind of get a sense of like they can control themselves, or they have a temper, and that's a good way to that's like a checklist that you can go through while you're trying to decide, like, am I want to commit further with this person?
It's good. I love that.
That's really good.
I think, go for it.
Oh, no,
you go.
no. Speak to that, and then I'm going to circle back to the question, and we're going to move on.
No, this isn't even that important. You just go.
No, I just was going to say, I think those are great. Back to where we started with the list of questions that was it his pastor or counselor said?
Yeah, his mentor.
His mentor. I think those questions are really good, because I think a lot of times people that have miserable dating experiences, that are like miserable in dating, think that marriage will fix those problems. And I think you have to ask these kind of questions and be truthful to it, because marriage will not solve your problems if you are not happy with the person you're dating, and if you just magically think that getting married will solve those things, then that is not true. So I love this question, because I think it kind of negates that idea of like, well, we're not happy, but I think we will be happy if we get married. So
That's good.
that's all I was gonna say.
I love that.
I was going to say, I was just thinking about, during John Luke was talking, I was thinking about just all the things that you can relate to, like, especially when you're hiring someone and when you're looking for someone to date. And like, one thing I always notice, and this is just like a red flag for relationships, and I see it in the workplace, but when I'm hiring someone, if they're the whole hiring process, they're complaining about their old job, talking negatively about every job they ever had, their bosses and their coworkers and yada yada, in the 30 minutes I sit down with them for an interview, it's the same for dating. If you sit down with a guy and the first thing they do is just complain about their ex-girlfriends and how terrible they were and talk so negatively about them, you're going to be the next one that they're talking about like that.
Yep.
So
I've had that
that's
happen.
something that I just like always see as a red flag in the workplace, and I think is so important also for dating. Like if someone's looking at everything in a negative view and talking about people badly, and like they're going to be talking about you next. So just like keep an eye out for that.
I've had that happen where I've gone like, why am I so surprised? Because they told me that they did this in so many other scenarios. I just didn't think it was going to happen to me. But it's like you do need to look for those patterns. This is so good. Very good advice, everyone. The next one I want to go to is John Crist's episode, which I have to say, Bella, it was fun that you said that you only listened to family, because our family episodes were the top podcast of the year when it comes to how many listens and whatnot and engagement. But the person who snuck in with the family was John Crist. John Crist's episode was, I think, like the third biggest podcast of the year, and for good reason. If you didn't listen to that, I highly encourage to go back and listen. He's so funny, but he also is so vulnerable about overcoming addiction and moving on in life. But I loved his original piece of advice. He said, the closer you can be to yourself when making jokes, in his case scenario, if I can get into the energy of, he said, if I get into the energy of, is this going to go on the algorithm or is this going to be funny to them, then I'm done. And I love that. He's basically saying, like, if I get into the headspace of, like, I'm only doing this so that the algorithm will, like this, or I'm only doing this so that people will think I'm funny, then I'm done. Like, I got to stay in the zone of, I think it's funny. This is who I am. This is what I'm putting out there. And I have, like, thought about that a lot in my life and, like, the longevity of doing social media. There's so much pressure to, like, okay, this is the trend, this is what the algorithm likes, and what you don't realize is if you start feeding that, you'll start to change who you are. And then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh, who I've just portrayed myself to be to the world, it's actually starting to get far away from who I am. And then you have to keep up with an image you created of yourself. And so it's like, no, I'm not going to do this for the algorithm. I'm not going to do this for the likes or for them to like. I'm going to do it because it's the overflow of who I am. And that's such a good space to be. And that doesn't just go for social media. Certainly you see it on social media, but that's in anything in your life, But I thought that was such good advice.
It was really good. Yeah, I see a lot of people on social media that you can tell that they post things because they think it's going to hit on the algorithm. And those people really frustrate me.
I think
not naming any names, but
I think too that people, the reason you're followed and the reason you get attraction is because people like you. And so the longer you stay you, the more you'll see success. And I think me and Mom have talked about that before. When Duck Dynasty happened, like, she could have moved us to LA and just, like, done away with West Monroe and not even did Duck Commander and just moved us to LA and pursued whatever there is television there. But that wouldn't be us anymore. That's the whole reason people love us, is because we're from Louisiana. Like, this is our life, and that's the reason we, and I think that happens a lot with influencers. Not to shade any influencers, but I think that with influencers, a lot of times they may get famous because they post about their nursing job or their whatever job they do. They may get famous for that, and then they quit their job and they do influencing. But then that's who you were, and that's why people love you, not because of your job, but people loved seeing what you do. And then when you change that for social media, you're not who you are anymore.
It's the same thing with like aesthetics to me. Like if you go to, and this is not necessarily like a bad thing. This is just a look. But like if you go to Nashville, there is a look everybody has. It's like long hair, the fake eyelashes, a lot of Botox, perfect skin. That's the look. If you go to like the University of Alabama, you're going to see spray tans, and you're going to see everybody's tan, everybody's wearing Lululemon, everybody's, wearing daily drills. If you go to Malibu, everybody's wearing like the shirt that's like not quite to their jeans, showing like a little bit, and like, cool white pants. Like I woke up like this vibe, skincare perfect. But it's like, we don't realize that in doing that, we all start to look the same, and it's like, that is like a look, but God gave you a look that's unique that no one else has, that is actually like a gift to the world. Like, we are made in the image of God. We get to see new sides of who God is by us expressing what God put in us. And so, not that that's bad. I do it too. I follow the trends where I just got my eyebrows laminated because I like the way it looks.
I was noticing that while you were talking. I was like, that was like really good.
Thank you. So it's not bad. You're not doing anything wrong to appreciate a look and go for it. But I do think if you're not careful and staying true to who you are and you're just doing it because you want to follow everybody else, then you look up and there's like not a lot of uniqueness. There's not a lot of originality. And I think that is sad because it's really cool to see people like owning who they are, owning what they look like, owning, like Lauren Daigle's a good example of just like true living original. Like Lauren wears outfits that I'm like, how did you even think to put that together? But she looks beautiful and she's so cool and people appreciate her so much because she's like so authentically living who she is. And I don't need to try to copy her outfit because I like it. That would look ridiculous on me because that's not who I am. And people would be like, what are you doing? You know, but I'm inspired by her authenticity in that. And it makes me want to be more like me, you know, not more like her. Which is cool. I know a lot of you out there have been praying for clarity about your future. That's a huge question we get asked. How do you know what to do next? Maybe it's stepping into a new season, chasing a dream, or finally taking that leap of faith towards your purpose. If that sounds like you, I've got something amazing to share. Liberty University. Liberty is a Christian university that's been training champions for Christ for over 50 years. With more than 700 degree programs, both on campus and online, you can find a path that aligns with your passion and calling. Liberty also offers online programs for grade school students through Liberty University Online Academy. It's an accredited K-12 program and gives families the flexibility to learn from home while keeping faith at the center. My sister Bella actually graduated from LUOA and she loved it. Let's go. And if you're thinking about heading off to college, you can experience Liberty in person with College for a Weekend. This is a 3-day event that lets you test drive life at Liberty, exploring the campus, sitting in on classes, and joining in on the fun that all the students have. Spring 2026 dates are February 19th through 21st and April 9th through 11th. Don't wait. Go ahead and sign up now. Being a Well That's Good podcast listener also comes with some amazing perks, like Liberty is actually going to waive your application fee. The College for a Weekend registration is actually also going to be free, and a chance to win one of the multiple scholarships in the $50,000 Sadie Scholarship giveaway. Y'all, this is no joke. Probably many of you have been trying to think of ways to get scholarship. This is a great way to do it. Enter this giveaway. I hope it blesses you and encourages you on your college journey. Go to liberty.edu/Sadie to enter the $50,000 Sadie Scholarship giveaway, plan your trip to campus, and step into your future with confidence. Don't wait. Head on over to liberty.edu/Sadie today.
I was thinking in my head while you were talking, like, what is our look? What is Louisiana? What do we wear?
Yeah, I don't really know because I feel like all of us have such different style in some sense. I don't know that it's like a look here. I don't know, but maybe other people could speak into that.
Yeah, comment below.
Maybe y'all should comment below what our look is because I don't know if you can see, like, I don't know if people in Nashville are thinking like, oh, we all kind of have like a look, you know? And maybe I realize it now because I'll like wear stuff that I used to wear when I lived there that like, I'm like, this doesn't really fit me, but it totally did when I was there, but it doesn't fit me here. And it fit me there because everybody else is wearing that. It's just kind of funny.
That's like that. Like, one time I had that happen to me, it was like a backhanded compliment at school. I was at school freshman year, and a substitute teacher told me after class, she was like, I just want to tell you, don't ever change wearing your outfits different than everyone else and, like, doing your own thing and having your own style. Like, you may not look like everyone else, and, like, people may say stuff, but don't ever change. And I was like...
You're like, I never thought about that until now.
And I was like, okay, girl.
I know. People have said that to me, too. They're like, they've said kind of what I said about Lauren, like, I would never wear that, but it looks really cute on you. And you're like, is it weird? Because I didn't actually think it was weird.
Yeah.
You know?
The John Crist episode was probably one of my favorite episodes. I listened to it out the door. And I thought when he was talking about that and talking about being a creative and kind of putting yourself out there, I feel that a lot, and I think that a lot of that comes down to comparison. Is you want to hit for any this goes for any job, but especially for creatives, is you want to hit when you start looking at the numbers and stop looking at the art or your competency in whatever you're doing, that's when you start to like lose yourself. Like,
Yeah.
It's totally, if you like doing trends and you're good at it, do it. Like, that's great. If you're good at that aspect of whatever it is, or if you can put that look together, like, there's a reason that those things are well and do well. But when you start to see your art as a job, that's, I think, when you start to like lose yourself. And that's like, sometimes you have to do that. Like, sometimes you want to make something that you're like, oh, I know this is going to go viral, or, oh, I know people are going to really like this. And sometimes you just do that to get a confidence boost. But if you put your personality in that and it doesn't do well, then you start to lose yourself.
Yeah. I think that's the thing for me, because you see, I mean, I don't think there's really necessarily wrong with, like you said, whether it's something trendy or you like, I actually do think this will perform well. I don't think that's necessarily always a bad thing, but my point is, when you do something, like when you post this and then that works, and then you only become that thing.
Get
so
like
it's like
so niche.
Yeah, so it's
the
like
thing that you know works.
Yeah, it's like, for instance, like if I'm a preacher and I could post all my different preaching content, but if the one thing that works is me having all the hot takes when I'm screaming, so then I'm only going to post screaming hot takes because I know that those get a ton of views, then you just become that person rather than all the other things that encompasses your messages. You just become known as that one thing because you know it works, because people, it can sometimes be controversial, or people can share it, or people can discuss it. And to me, that's when it becomes damaging, to where you limit yourself to this one thing because you know this is what works. And I don't think it's always bad to, oh, this is a fun, trendy thing, I'll do it. I mean, I've done that plenty of times where I think this will work. But if you become that one thing just because it worked, and somehow it does keep working because you figured out the algorithm, then I think that's when it becomes dangerous.
Then
you change who you are.
Only share that one side of you because you don't want people to not like you, or like you start to delete the things that aren't performing well, or start to only, act in that one space. It's like, I've said this before, but I know if I walk through the airport dressed like I am today, I'm going to get stopped and recognized and take pictures of people. If I walk through the airport in my pajamas or casual clothes, and Christian's saying this with no makeup on, nobody even like notices me. It's kind of nice and funny. But if I was like, I always have to be put together because that's the version people notice me and that's the version people like, that would be so much pressure on myself to always be ready, and it's not healthy. And I have to be okay with going, okay, I might not get a compliment today, I might not get recognized today, but I'm confident enough in who I am with no makeup on and sweats and whatever, because my look doesn't define me. My look, it might look better to people, but that's not like where I find my confidence in who I am. And so I think that's what you have to check with yourself.
Live original.
This all boils down to one message: live original.
And then I said,
on this note, Lacy Abercrombie hit us with the best piece of advice: log off the internet. Has there ever been a time in y'all's life where you had to log off the internet?
So does she mean like delete something, or like unplug a computer? Like,
how do you take it, babe?
Well, log off technically would mean just shut it down.
Have you ever shut it all down?
Shut it all down? No. Have I shut some down? Yes.
How'd that go for you?
It was good. It was a good time in my life.
You've deleted Instagram a few times.
A few times.
You completely cut out Snapchat.
Completely cut out Snapchat, but I wouldn't say I logged off the internet. So the internet, is she just meaning
Would
Safari?
you stop being specific and answer the
I'm
question?
acting like two, Papa. Okay, sorry. Have I logged off the internet regarding Snapchat? Yes, Snapchat's the woat. Instagram, yes, those have been healthy times for me, when kind of like what we just talked about. If I get my head on, like, why is that not performing well, or thinking about things too much and feeling like I'm just spending too much time on it and I want to fill that with something else. Yes, I think it's great to set app time limits and stuff like that, but sometimes it's easy just to click that, extra 15 minutes. But in that code, keep on scrolling. So sometimes you need to delete it.
Friends, so that this is really
just to get it off.
So we have friends, married couple, and they have screen time on their apps, and they know each other's password like the other person doesn't know they're a pastor. So like
I was about to bring that up.
Yeah, so like it's Freddie and Parker. I'll just go and say it live. You guys know Freddie. If Freddie wants more screen time, she has to ask Parker for the passcode to add 15 minutes. I think that's great accountability.
That's good accountability.
Yeah, we should probably.
I don't want to do that, but
benefit
it's
from
good
that.
accountability.
When you're ready to log off the internet, let me know and we'll do that.
I do log off the internet a lot of
I
times.
know. No, I think that's really good though. What about y'all?
Well, everybody knows I have a complicated relationship with social media, so yes, I have. But I think that for me, it's more about the posting side of things. Like, I don't even have to delete the app because it's not about looking on social media. It's about the mental block I have about posting on social media. I have a lot of I don't know. There's a lot of pressure that I feel about posting on social media, and I just don't like to do it. It's just like about 2 years ago, I was like, I just can't feel this pressure anymore. And so I stopped posting as regularly, and I post every now and then, but it's just not something that I do every day anymore because I just have a lot of anxiety around it.
Sometimes you be putting some great things on your story, and I'm like, this is a main page thing. And I think that's really real to share with people.
Yeah.
Like, you have anxiety around it. I think a lot of people probably feel that way with social media because the algorithm does put pressure on you. Like, we can say all day long, like, don't let the algorithm, but like, it does put pressure on you because it's like, if you don't post all the time, then it's not gonna get shared, whatever. And I always try to tell Christian this, like, when we talk about this, because he was starting to like really work on his social media this year, is like, you're noticing your like count, no one else is. You're noticing what performs better, no one else is. No one's saying, oh man, that did not perform well for her. And if you are, that's rude and unnecessary. But like, I never think that when I see somebody else's post. And it might not be that for you, but I do think a lot of people feel that.
I think, and to be totally transparent, I think it comes from years of like, if anyone's 23 right now, you grew up, I feel like we grew up at a very weird time where like Instagram started when I was like 9, and it wasn't big enough for anyone to know that like a 9-year-old, 10-year-old shouldn't probably be on Instagram. And at the time, it really wasn't that crazy. So I was on social media when I was like 10 years old, which sounds so crazy now, but at the time, it wasn't like that. And so posting on social media for 10 years and growing, getting to a point where it was my job, I think I just came from years of like feeling like everything was growing and I was having to keep up with it. And like, I felt like I had to trade my personal life and my privacy for more followers. And I just didn't like that. And like, personally for me, like I value privacy and value, I just value privacy a lot. And so I think that posting on social media and feeling like I had to keep up with my job, to keep up with what I'd done for so many years, to keep up with all the people who have followed me and who I love that follow me. And like, I felt like I had to keep up with that. And I had to sacrifice my privacy for that. And that was just not something that I was comfortable with anymore. And like, I just had to pull back from. And so that's just personal to me and not everyone's story. But for me, it just wasn't something that I could continue doing and like be in a good mental health space.
That's really wise. And actually the other day I said something to a friend. I was like, if I didn't believe in like the impact it can make, I would just not have social media. And she said, really? It seems like you actually really like it and you're really natural at it. And I was like, well, I guess I shouldn't say that. I was like, because I actually do love it. Like the fun of it is super natural to me. I love like posting fun things, stories, sharing my life with people. Like that doesn't bother me. I mean, think about me when I was a kid before there was social media and I had like my little video camera and I was always recording myself talk, you know, just before any of that. So that is natural to me. But I was telling her, I don't like what social media has become because it is a job and it is like there is a huge part of it that is a job now. And there is a huge part of it that is, you know, having to keep up and posting so often and all this stuff where it's like that side I do not like that it's become that, and it makes you just not want to share because you're like, this is too much. But I'm like, okay, help me, Lord, to keep it fun and to keep it encouraging and keep it what it was originally created to be and not what, you know, this new technology has made it to be. You know, like I'm trying to stay true to it, but it's hard.
Yeah.
John Luke, you have anything on that?
Yeah, I think of that in two ways. The first is just removing distraction from your life. I mean, I had someone tell me one time, if you're consuming, you're not creating. And that, you know, that really hit me as a creative kind of person. And especially me, because I get really into, I watch YouTube videos and stuff, and I'll find myself, I'm like, oh, I've watched 100 hours on making something out of leather, but I haven't actually made anything. Like at some point, if you enjoy the things you're watching, you've got to turn it off so you can actually make the thing.
Yeah.
And that goes with any distraction in your life. Like I like to read, that's something I do, but I find myself scrolling for 5 minutes where I could actually be doing something I enjoy more than scrolling, but it's just such a distraction.
Yeah.
And then the second thing I think is just about comparison or the way that makes you feel. I mean, that's in normal life. If I have a friend, and I've had friends before who are just super negative, and every time I hang out with them, I get really negative, and I'm like, I just need to, why am I hanging out with them? Whenever I come away from that being negative or feeling bad or whatever, like if Instagram or TikTok or whatever is making me feel jealous or comparison or not joyful or wasting time, like why would I?
You gotta have the self-control to step away. I
think it feels like such a cultural, like you have to be in it, you have to be watching to like keep up with what's going on, but you really just don't.
What's weird is if you step away, for me, every time I've logged off, I don't miss it.
Right.
Like I don't go back to it because I'm like, oh, I miss it so much. I normally go back to it because I feel purpose. Like I'm like, oh, like now I feel like my mind is clear. I feel purpose in it. Of course, like I miss seeing my friends' things and that kind of stuff. But you don't miss like just the time that you feel wasted from scrolling. It's not like that. It's like, oh, I hate I missed your announcement or your, post with your family or whatever. And so I feel like I always come back with better boundaries just because I'm like, oh, this is what I know I want out of this. I want to see my friends. I want to catch up with people. I want to post things that are encouraging to other people. I want to do fun trends again because I actually enjoy that. Like we laugh a lot when we try to do a dance or something like that. But I come back healthier and stronger. And the other thing I want to say too, just in full transparency, because we were talking about this beforehand where I just did a Q&A on social media. It was like, ask me anything. And I had so many questions about if I get Botox, which is kind of funny. And this answer is really not about Botox, but I'm saying it to this point. I was like, should I answer this? I don't get Botox, but I don't want people to feel ashamed if they do get Botox. Like, I don't have like a strong opinion against it. I just don't. But one thing I love is when people do share what they've had done, because it's like helpful to set your expectation on like what natural skin can look like or what your skin could look like if you did that, just by somebody just being honest with how they do it. And for me, with social media and doing all the things I'm doing and having 3 kids, if I did not have a team helping me run my social media, I could not keep up with social media 100%. And so I would never want someone to look at me and go like, man, how does she have 3 kids and does all this podcasting and whatnot and also have something to post every day? Literally, I have a full team of people helping me do that, helping me think of ideas, helping me say, hey, I love when you said that. Let's write a caption about it. And I write my content. I fully approve anything that goes up. I'm sending my pictures to my team. So it is me, but if I didn't have them helping spark what I should do or helping keep up with things for me or even posting it half the time because I'm just like busy beat bopping around my everyday life, I wouldn't be able to do it. And so I just think that's just good to hear other people say like how they actually do it. That's how I do it. And I actually post a lot on my close friends, my very personal life, like with my kids, because again, I love social media and that's the fun of it to me. And then I have a team help me with the job side of it because I was starting to lose interest.
I want to highlight that because I think that doesn't just go for social media, but any job that you have out there. You start doing that job because you love it, or if you're starting a business or whatever, you start doing it because you love it. But the more your hobby becomes your business, you get further away from the hobby.
I was thinking the same thing.
Like I was seeing, like for me, that was coffee. I loved coffee. I love making coffee. And so I got the coffee shops. And I love being a barista. I love serving. I love roasting the coffee and creating the drinks and creating the flavors and the beans and all that. But the more it became a business, the further away I got. Then I was just doing taxes and health code and all that, like hiring and all that kinds of stuff. The stuff that I really didn't like about, I wasn't doing my hobby anymore. I wasn't doing the thing I loved. And then once I sold the coffee shops and got back to just roasting the coffee, making drinks. I was like, oh, I love this. You know, I wasn't maybe necessarily making as much money. It was less of a business, but I was back to the hobby rather than making it some kind of like work thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing because I think that obviously that doesn't apply to every job. Like, you know, everyday jobs, that's not always the case that it's your hobby that you just go and do. But I think with social media, that's almost how everyone's career on social media starts, is that they love to post and they share about their life and they love to do this and that. And then all of a sudden they're hit with, oh wait, this can be my job, and they're excited about that. But then all of a sudden that takes a turn, and now it's this thing that you have to keep up with because it's your livelihood, and sometimes that can be really hard. And so I think that, and with John Crist, I think that that's probably similar to his story. Like, he was like loved to be funny and make people laugh, and now it's his job. And so that like grounding that you have to do is just like, I still have to be myself in this. So
it's good. Okay, y'all, gotta be real. We totally intended to do this whole podcast in one, but things are going so good. I was loving the conversation so much. I love spending time with my brother, sister, Christian. So much good advice for the year. We literally could not fit it all into one. So we're gonna have a part 2. Tune in next week for part 2. Thank y'all so much for listening along. This whole year has been incredible, and I know the best is yet to come.